Thank you for joining. So this is Thailand. I'm Valerie McKenzie. Sawadee ka.
I'm Johan Wimon-Jalao. Swadee krap.
And I'm Tapani Manawet. Sawadee ka.
Now, I'm sure that all of you, like us, are so fed up about talking about the floods. But I have to say we have to talk about the rain because it is really pouring down for the last couple of days, but it's going to go through until tomorrow. So you might as well get used to it. Just make sure that all the drains are cleared near your home so that you can actually really get yourselves organised so that your place doesn't flood. But it'll be a little bit of a test for later on. As one of our colleagues says, the whale is coming. You just have to accept that. It's just to what degree it comes.
I heard that there's more typhoons and storms and depressions set to
hit us too. So, coming across the China South, no?
South
China
Sea.
Sea.
There we go.
It must be Monday.
Yeah, it will be.
Just on a sad note, we sorry that we heard yesterday that the chief of the Central Group, Kun Wanchai, has passed away. I know that many of you will know him. He was the one who, with his brother, started the Central Group, actually in Chirunkrung Road so many years ago. They've had an incredible success and just recently listed, of course, as the top two, or the second to only Kun Chirun, as the richest and most successful business in Thailand. So Kun Wanchai, you'll be sadly missed. To the family, of course, we pass on our condolences, and I'm sure that the company will go obviously from strength to strength, but what a great start from this gentleman who really pushed the company right until the end. So our thoughts are with you all.
Well, it is really a success story. And you look at, if you go back and you take a look at some of those earlier pictures of the very first store, and you look where they are now, it's miraculous. It's just that hard work ethic, going that little by little, and then growing it. So.
Yeah. And I think the stores compare with any around the world, so it's good to see that we're up there with the best. Moving right along, we need to talk about the talk of the town. Now, I'm sure flooding is going to come in again, but let's talk about something else first, or are we?
Actually, the first thing on the news is about the flooding. It's hard to escape, much as it's hard to escape the water out there. And unfortunately, we know for all the expats out there, a lot of the information that's coming out of the government is only in Thai. So we're going to try to kind of explain some of the details about that right now. Now, there are a couple diagrams which are released by the Department of Irrigation. You can actually go to the website and download these yourself. You can go to www.rid.go.th. I got it right. And basically what this chart does, I know it's kind of difficult to see here. If you look at some of these are the 4 rivers which flow into the Chao Phraya River. So you have the Bing, Wang, Yom, and Nan rivers. And what happens is, on this chart, it shows all the dams, it shows all the flow rates of the river, the capacity of the river, and if you can look really closely on this picture, basically it works like a stop sign. You have the green being the okay levels, the ones where the current flow is below, well below the capacity of the river. Yellow is obviously getting towards the critical level, and the red being flooding. And as you can see here, especially on the Yom River, right, if I see here, right here, that's the one that is in the red right now.
It also shows you the name of the provinces as well, so you get a kind of a relation of, okay, well, if it's above this province and overflowing, then this province is going to flood, so on and so forth. So you can start moving your things.
Well, we also have another picture here which we can get on the screen for you in a little more closer detail for you. If you look here, this is one that came out. It's in English for everyone who's watching, but it shows you all the provinces so far which have been affected by the flooding. Now you can see that the important part, you see the major dams here in Thailand, the ones where the level is, because that's really what led to most of the flooding last year, releasing too much water too late in the season. So you can see half capacity, the Sirikit in Uttaradit, 61% already. But with all the efforts which have been done to hopefully not have the catastrophe that we had last year, it's starting to turn into, Mother Nature's not relenting at all. No,
well, not at all. But the other thing too, on the dam situation of the Bhumibol 52 and the Sirikit 61, the reality there is that last year the statistics were 87% and 93%. So we had no chance. Now, of course, there's a lot of rain, there's still a lot of rain to come, but nonetheless, to have actually let the water out of those dams, I think is is in the right direction. The other thing that the government is doing, I think, is also working well. They don't want a repeat of the Sukhothai situation, so they are actually installing water level gauges right throughout the potential areas. So Praia is about to go under. I know that around the country you're asking us, don't just talk about Bangkok, talk about the rest of us. You're about to go under. I believe the water gauges are in place, and we hope and pray that you won't be affected as Sukhothai was. But a lot of work being done. Maybe it's not all as it should be, but a lot better than last year so far.
And also next up in the talk of the town is the efforts being made to restore the tourist destinations that were affected last year. Now this has just come out from the Department of Tourism, who are encouraging foreign tourists to the tourist destinations which have been affected. I guess off the top of our heads we can think of a few, like in Ayutthaya, where it's severely flooded. Well, those places have now been cleaned up and are ready to welcome visitors back into the high season again, as the high season is approaching. The government is also spending 7 million baht on a public relations campaign, which will help to draw in foreign visitors. They're hoping for 20 million this year, and that to boost the tourism earnings back up once again.
Please, countries, ambassadors that are here, please check the facts before we get these warnings that, you know, people shouldn't come to Thailand because there are floods. There are floods in certain areas, as Kun Tara has just said, they're being cleaned up. I know it's very difficult, but we can get the facts here and we give you the facts.
Yeah.
You can go to all the places we've talked about, the tourist destinations, with no danger. The water has come, Sukhothai is draining, it's going to take a bit of while. You would avoid Sukhothai at the moment, you would go somewhere else. So please, let's get the right information out to the countries where the tourists are coming from.
Absolutely. Well, I know, especially for those overseas who see those pictures coming up on other media outlets, they love covering just the negative part, and you think that that one area is in fact the entire country. But
yeah, but the countries now, you know, some of the countries already are giving travel warnings.
Yeah.
I mean,
and there's actually certain parts of the country, as we mentioned on a previous show, that are in a drought. So
exactly. And next year there will be a drought, so you don't tell people don't come because it's a drought. So hopefully we'll just give our little message to these guys.
Well, up next, the BMA, the Bangkok Metropolitan Authority, Bangkok Metropolitan Administration, would like a little message for all you drivers out there. Stop driving.
You do, because you sit in the traffic so long you don't drive.
Well, it seems that, surprise, surprise, the number of cars here in the city far exceed the capacity of the roads. You know, I could have told them that the other day when I was sitting, as you mentioned, for a couple hours. It says there are about 7 million cars registered in Bangkok alone, almost 4.5 times the road's capacity for only 1.6 million cars.
Are we surprised?
We are not surprised. And that number, the number of cars being registered, you know, yearly, it just keeps on increasing. So the problem's not going away; it's actually getting worse. And hopefully, as we've been covering a lot of these mega projects to extend the public railway system, you know, the high-speed train, the MRT, the BTS, people will start taking those public transportation more than they will to drive. But you really have to change the behavior of the drivers and people, and also make those public transportations convenient.
Well, I think, you know, we talked the other day about more carriages going on the BTS, but that was going on one carriage on the Sukhumvit route. You know what, there's a lot more routes that need that extra carriage, so, you know, we're not squeezed in as we are at the moment. Sometimes you really can't get on the train anyway. Yeah,
the extra carriage will be in October, I think, and
that's
they'll
right,
come
it hasn't
in
started.
really handy. I was on the BTS the other day because the traffic was so bad, and there were people who couldn't actually get on the train and just had to stand and wait, even though the doors were still open.
You know, every country, I think, has the dream that we will not be able to have more cars on the road, but we don't take cars off the road. You know, we put new cars on the road and keep the very old ones there too. It's very much a prestigious situation to drive your own car. I think what they tried to do in Australia was to give some incentives to actually have more than one person in your car. So you've got 3 people in your car, you get a fast lane. Hasn't worked here yet, but let's hope it does.
Well, they did the same thing for those who are from New York. Those going into the city, you have to carpool in order to cross the bridges into Manhattan. And they just said it. You will not get across this bridge if you're driving alone.
But here you pay 100 baht, you get across. Okay.
Well, moving right along, can you believe it's been 2 years since the initial 3G auction took place?
No.
2 years, and guess what? It's still going on. And they're expecting that the three major contenders are AIS, DTAC, and True.
Nothing changed, huh?
Nothing has changed. There have been about 15 companies in total which have already requested the application forms and are going to submit them. But within those, the grouping of them, they only expect those three major contenders, which everyone knew from the beginning were really the only viable options there. But
well, the world's going 5G, isn't it?
Yeah,
We're not even Cambodia is on 4G. Come on, guys, let's get this together, huh?
Absolutely.
We'll finally get on that boat, I think.
I hope so.
One of these days. Finally, next up in Talk of the Town, and the last item for today, I believe, is about tobacco. And it is a petition from tobacco growers to oppose the anti-tobacco bill. Now, there's a bill that is being drafted and will be set into motion very soon that how do you say, prohibits?
Prohibits, yes.
Yes. Pictures on cigarette packets. So the new tobacco marketing law will require a single color for cigarette packets with no designs or logos at all. Now, the petition against this by the Tobacco Association, if I get it right, there's a Thailand tobacco monopoly.
Yes.
Is that the bill is a violation of the constitution and will lead to fake cigarettes, which threatens actually puts people in more danger.
Exactly.
So I don't know really how it's going to turn out, but from the numbers, an interesting fact is that the number of smokers are decreasing by 1 to 2% every year. So
in Thailand?
Yes.
Wow, surprising. We're going to take a break and then we're going to come back, well, I'm going to come back and introduce you to Mr. Neil Thompson, the Deputy Managing Director of BEC Tero. This is the company that brings you the Thailand Tennis Open, brings you Disney on Ice, another Disney show coming up, but there's some great events coming. Well, for me, Sting is coming in December, so I'm pretty happy about that. Not sure about Mr. Elton John, but anyway, Sir Elton John, I beg your pardon, but he's coming here also, and there's much, much more. Stay tuned. We'll be right back to look at the exciting world of BEC Tero.